Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We are so excited to have you all here today to talk about data-backed diagrams and do a hands-on workshop. Feel free, as we're getting people into the space, hop into the chat and let me know where you're calling from today. I'm currently calling from not so sunny San Marcos, Texas. It is currently 60 degrees, which makes me feel like it's cold, but it's not because I'm also from Iowa, so I know there's actual cold weather in this world. I just don't get it here in Texas. Sunny SoCal, Raleigh, got a couple Californias in the house. Kansas City, ooh, 24 in Kansas, love that. Idaho, Arizona, Canada. We've got a whole litany of places. Oh my goodness. Welcome in, everybody. Super excited to have you all in here today. As you're sharing where we're coming from, I want to do just a little bit of housekeeping just to make sure we're all prepped and ready for this webinar today and we know what's going to happen. So first things first, for our housekeeping, this webinar is being recorded. So you can expect an email with a link to that recording within a day or two. It'll be sent to the email you use to register for this session. That email will also include some additional resources. Oh, I'm not muted. Sorry, I hate to tell you, my mic is working. You might need to reset if you're having some microphone issues. The email will also include some additional resources, including a blog post and some more information about our product and how they work together. We also want to make sure that this webinar is just me not talking at you the whole time. We want to hear from you, not only in the chats, but we actually have an amazing spot for you to ask questions of either myself or our amazing backstage crew. We've got a whole list of Lucid panelists here today to help answer questions. So if you have questions, either for myself or about the product, feel free to hop on down to the bottom of your Zoom screen and find a little button labeled Q&A. Please throw all questions in that Q&A because I gotta be honest, there's a lot of you and only one of me. So being able to answer all of these questions is gonna be hard. So having those questions in the Q&A makes it easier for my backstage crew to also help you answer those questions. We've also got captions enabled in case you need some closed captioning support. You can toggle that down on the bottom of your screen as well. And lastly, some small disclaimers that some features shown today may not reflect what is available on your account due to security and privacy settings, or just the access your account has in general. So I might be talking about some things related to artificial intelligence that you may not have access to. Do not worry, it will not be the entirety of our webinar. It will just be a small portion. So do not panic if you don't have access to certain things. Across the board, we've tried to make this accessible for everybody who's joining us today. Okay, so again, housekeeping, we are recording, Q&A for questions, chat for all the fun stuff in the background there. Next up is our agenda for the day. So today, we are going to be talking all things intelligent diagramming and data. A little heads up is that this will be a higher level workshop. So if you're not used to using Lucid, this workshop might feel a little bit more on the challenging end. So we recommend taking some intro courses. Feel free to watch the session today though, and then you can practice with the recording in the future. One thing to note as well is that this is a workshop, but it is also a webinar. So I am going to talk a little bit at the beginning here about some higher level Lucid features and benefits before we dive into the workshop. Kind of have to set the scene, if you will, before we can roll for initiative. So with that, let's now dive into our actual agenda for the day. We will do a quick review and overview of Lucid's intelligent diagramming features, tools that will help you speed up how you diagram, how you interpret your diagrams, and how to gain insight. In this workshop, we will also focus on all things data. And by the end of this workshop, you should be able to create and optimize a data-backed flowchart where we will do a quick practice diagram with AI, practice data linking, custom shape libraries, Lucid Cards, and conditional formatting. To add on to that, we will also be talking about creating and optimizing a data-backed org chart, where we will talk about how to build using quick diagramming with data as well as gain insight from conditional formatting. Alrighty, so first, let's set the scene. Let's set the stage to roll for initiative. I'm glad that was a hit in the chat. So first things first, visuals have always played a powerful role in how we understand and share information. Whether it was ancient hieroglyphics, detailed maps, or the modern day hieroglyphic of an emoji, we use them to make complex ideas simpler, clearer, and easier to act on. In this modern world overflowing with text documents, emails, endless message threads, diagramming offers a refreshing alternative. It cuts through the clutter, turning overwhelming information into something visual, organized, and immediately actionable. It helps teams stay aligned, understand data faster, and collaborate more effectively. But as the challenges we grow become more complex, traditional tools often fall short. That is where Lucid has offered something smarter, helping you work faster, collaborate better, and gain deeper insights from your diagrams. So let's explore how Lucid's features can make your work not only easier, but also more impactful. For time's sake, I will not be diving into how to do all of these. If you want to learn more about each of these features, I recommend checking out the recording of our previous webinar, Next Gen Diagramming, that Shannon has just dropped in the chat. But for a quick high-level recap, Lucidchart's next-level diagramming tools are designed to do more than just help you create visuals. They're built to make your work faster, smarter, and more collaborative. You can do that through quick diagrams, which lets you jump right in with quick shapes and actions, speeding up the process of turning your ideas into visuals. Perfect for brainstorming or getting initial concepts down fast. You can create a diagram from data, allowing you to transform raw data into meaningful visuals automatically. Whether you're building an ERD diagram, account maps, process charts, you can go from spreadsheet to diagram in no time. You can use data linking, taking it a step further by connecting live data sources directly to your diagrams. That means your visuals stay up to date and provide deeper insights without manual updates. We can also help you interpret data by using features like conditional formatting and smart containers. These tools will make your diagrams more dynamic, enabling you to tell a story or highlight patterns that matter the most to you and your team. And lastly, aggregating ideas. Lucid empowers teams to gather input, sort through data, and collaborate seamlessly, using features like visual activities to turn group brainstorming sessions into actionable plans. With all of these tools and more, Lucid has become more than just a tool for diagramming and brainstorming. It's a platform for building clarity, solving problems, and unlocking the full potential of your team's ideas. And with Lucid, diagramming isn't just about making things look good. It's about working smarter by automating creation, layering in data, and enabling more informed decisions. Lucid transforms how we visualize and solve problems. Now that you've seen what's possible, let's bring it to life. In this next section, we'll explore how these intelligent features work in real-world scenarios and show you exactly how Lucid can revolutionize your workflow. Let's dive in. So, we're about to dive into the workshop portion. In the first half of this workshop, we'll be working through data-backed flowcharts. We'll be focusing on creating a map or a business process to streamline whether it's an invoice process, a user flow, walking through cart to checkout, or outlining decision-making frameworks for next Thursday's pizza order. We'll practice using data to make your diagram smarter, more dynamic, and more insightful. Specifically, we're going to tackle diagramming tools, how to use Lucid's AI to generate a diagram from a lengthy text document. We'll cover data linking, how to add data to your document and then add specific data sets to your shapes. We'll cover conditional formatting, getting your data to work for you through custom formatting based on certain conditions or data points. And then we'll make it dynamic by tracking progress or time spent during your workflow using data. And if you are a formula head, you could also use a formula. To help us do this, we're actually going to go on a diagramming journey with a very made up, very not real, very mindful company, Orbitech. For this case study, we are all now employees at Orbitech. Congratulations, you've been hired. We are facing some customer satisfaction challenges, though, specifically with delays in our support ticket process. To help solve this issue, we are going to redesign the outdated ticket resolution process by creating a diagram to visualize all the steps in the process, import data to see where our current areas for improvement are, and monitor time to complete tickets across a period of time. Here in just a second, we're going to share a link in the chat. This is going to be a special link as it will create your own copy of the activity. That way, all 700 of us can practice and build in our own little sandbox. You will need to be logged into Lucid with an account to use this document. One more tiny thing before we start in this document, just a reminder that as we're going, for any of us who've joined a little bit later, please use the Q&A for any and all questions. That way, again, if I can't help you live on the screen, my lovely backstage support can answer those questions for you. So Q&A for your questions. I am loving the chat though. Benefits, by the way, include photos of my dog, and that's about it. And I can't give you a raise until I get a raise. Alrighty, so let's switch this document here really quickly. So here's our data-backed diagramming exercise. A cat photo as well. Sorry, Victoria, I don't have a cat. My partner's allergic. I wish. Alrighty, so this first portion does require you to kind of know how to use the Lucid's AI tool. That being said, if you don't have Lucid AI turned on, that is totally okay. It is not a problem at all. You do not need to have the AI diagram to follow the rest of our workshop here today. So, diagramming with AI. With our company, Orbitech, we previously had a step-by-step process walking through ticket intake all the way to closing the tickets. That, let me tell you, as a fellow ADHDer, this is not going to work for me. These multiple steps, if resolved, go to step 6. If not, go back to step 3. Absolutely not. I am not doing that. I'm not going to be able to follow those steps even if I wanted to. Versus over here on the right, would you look at that? Doesn't that seem much easier to follow and much easier for someone to go through all of the steps from intake all the way to closing? So to generate with AI, I'm actually going to go to a little document here that I've supplied for all of you as well. You should have access to this document. If not, no big deal. But what I'm going to do is copy all of this text. Little copy there. Close that document. And now is when the AI is going to do the work for us. I know, it stresses me out too. Me too, Stuart. All right, so now for AI. On the leftmost side of your screen is your toolbar. And you should be able to see all of the tools available to you. And then what we're going to look for is 2 little sparkles for generate diagram. I will click that generate diagram and you will see a menu pops up giving you options to be able to add in your different things. So in my case, let's go to the type of diagram. Let's create a flowchart here. And then draw me a flowchart for, oh, I don't know, paste in your text. That sounds nice to me. Now, having tested this earlier, I am going to give you one more pro tip. And that's going to be to go down here and click this Enhance Prompt button. Oh, excuse you. Let me do a quick refresh here. And I also see some questions about the document link. Let me pop in the Google document link really quickly here, and we can also get in that other link as well. So give me a quick second to grab that document link. Copy that source link and paste that document link into the chat for people. There we go. This is fun. Sometimes this happens, everybody. Sometimes our AI is a little funky. The reason, and I could talk about this actually for a second here, The reason our AI works a little bit different than some AIs you might have seen before, like ChatGPT, is because our AI is not machine learning. So as you supply data to our AI modeler, it is actually not going to get any information from you. It's not going to give you, like, take in any information. It's not going to remember anything. It's truly just going to go to that one-off instance and this one off thing to get information. So sometimes it does take a refresh, like TJ got it to work. It might be that I just made it too specific by asking it to make a specific type of diagram. So let me try a couple things here. Let's do some live troubleshooting here. Let me try not having it draw me a flowchart. Let's have it just draw me a diagram. Or I saw someone ask about a sequence diagram. I could also have it do that. I'll generate something for this, and let's see what happens. Try rewording and resubmitting. Let's try this again, see what happens here. Give me a quick second. It might be a me thing. I did turn on some fun little beta flags here. So I might be breaking my own computer here, and that is totally fine. This is not the first time this is going to be. There we go. Hey, look at that. Okay. So what I had to do there, everybody, I did have to ignore the enhanced prompts. It was just taking a second for me to enhance that prompt. Totally okay. I do recommend the enhanced prompt tool if it does work for you. I think I just added too much text here. But now what we're going to see is that as I zoom in, I'm seeing all those different steps, a lot of different pieces of text, and a lot of different information. Now, I did see your thing, Sarah. Not as successful as I thought. I agree with you. And that's because ours is not machine learning. It is not going to be learning from every diagram you create. It's not going to become smarter. It's not going to take information. It's truly algorithmic. What that means is as you give text to our AI, it's going to hit certain flags on or off to add or subtract certain things to a diagram. Now, that being said, if you want it to be more thorough or you want to iterate on that diagram, you can do that really easily by simply going to this pop-up menu that appeared when I clicked on the diagram and ask it to update this diagram using our iterative AI. So I could ask it to say, hey, remove some of this text. Exactly, Kat. So it is going to be kind of like like I said, it's going to be that algorithmic thing. It's going to be kind of different switches on or off. So I asked it to remove some of the text, and would you look at that? I got less text in these boxes. I've got less text in some of these spaces, and I could even go further and ask it to, add in more text here or there, or update that as well. So, like I said, this is a great option. Actually, I didn't say this yet. So the reason we're talking about this at all is just because it can often be daunting to take this step-by-step process and turn it into a diagram all on your own. Uh, I'm cutting down on this extra time and this extra energy to go from, this heavy text-based document to this diagram all by myself. Is it perfect? No. It is never going to be perfect. That's just because we're not doing machine learning. Is it a great first step that I can iterate on? Or maybe, we can update later by adding an extra text or extra things. 100%. And I think that's really the power of Lucid's AI, is being able to kind of get you started that much quicker or get you started that much easier. So, like I said, this is not the main portion of our presentation today. We're really here to talk about data. So let's jump to the real the fun meat and potatoes of our session in the add data section. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll notice an option to add data way down there at the bottom left. That's because Lucid will allow you to go through different pages or different documents all in one central location. So I'm going to go to add data here. And let's practice adding data. I'm glad you all are having fun with my fun and potatoes. That is a total act. You know, sometimes words don't work the way you want them to, and here we are. Okay, so importing data. This is the real fun part of today's session where I get to nerd out a little bit. So let's talk. First things first is even how to add data to your diagram. On the leftmost side of my screen, there's a little database stack with a hyperlink icon. We're going to go ahead and select that first. And you'll actually see I've already imported data for you to save us some time. When you go in the future, you will see this exact screenshot that's on my screen here, which will allow you to add in that data if you've not done it before. But in this case, I already imported the data. A couple things to note about data imports. You've got quite a few options for data imports. You can use Excel, Google Sheets, or a CSV file. Once you select one of those files, it'll give you a little menu where you can search through and find that data set. Let's see, I've got my demo customer support ticket here. Can select that little data set. And then it's going to ask you some questions as far as like key identifiers or, key metric points or header rows, all that kind of stuff, which is also going to be great for our org chart here a little bit later. And then you'd select finish and upload that into your diagram. But again, I've done that for us so we can save some of that time. And then a way to see which file is being used for your data set. Great question there. So when you go to that data panel, you'll see there's a little drop-down menu at the top of the screen with the data set's title. So if I added in a new data set here, which I actually could do that really quickly, just for funsies. Let's go to my demo org chart data here. I'll select that really quickly. It's going to take a second. There's a lot of data in that org chart. Finish that up. And now you'll see that it's got the different titles. I didn't name my sheet properly, so that's a cal error and not a document error. That's a cal error. We forgive Cal for his errors. But it'll show you what those data sets are in this drop-down menu. All right, so once you've got the data in your diagram, from there, it's actually getting that data to be visualized. So getting this data into a shape and getting this data into the diagram is probably the most important thing for me. So attaching the data to a shape is really, really easy here in Lucid. So from your data panel, you're going to actually grab the entire row of data, not just a column, the entire row of data. So I'm going to find this number 2 over here, left click and hold, drag, and drop that onto this shape here. Great. That's done nothing for us, though. That's okay. We'll figure out what to do with that in just a second. Let's try that again with triage, though. So I'm going to grab number 3 here, drag and drop triage. And one more just for practice. Let's do escalation. Find the number 4, drag, and drop escalation. And now what you'll see are these hyperlinks that now appear over the shapes, or sorry, over the text in the left side of the screen, letting you know that data is attached to shapes on this diagram. That's great and all, but I can't see that data. I'm not visualizing that data. I can't read that data. So what we can do instead to further make it easier for you to actually know what's going on in the diagram is add the data to the shape itself. So go ahead and click on one of the shapes you added data to. And if you did it right, there should be a pop-up on the right side of your screen. If not, totally okay. Find your little account bubble and click the little contextual panel right underneath it. And that should open up this little panel labeled activity with layout and a little data option. From there, let's go to the data column. And you will see all of that data that we imported in is now visualized on the right side of my screen. I'm going to go to where it says stage. ticket number, and there should be a little T plus just to the right of the word ticket number. I'm going to click that little T plus here. Oh, error. Don't you error me. There we go. It's because I locked it. It is because I locked it. All right, everybody. One-timer step as well. You'll need to highlight your shapes, come up to your lock menu, and unlock those shapes. That makes it so you're not accidentally changing shapes that have been locked. So that's going to be something you need to do as well. So back to our little shape here. Click on this little box here. Get your contextual panel open. Find this data option. Find your stage name, and hit T+. Also put your stage names in the chat. Mine is Holden Space. Again, so finding that contextual panel, going to this little T+ option, and adding in that text. So now what we've done is taken data, put it onto a shape, and now are visualizing that shape with that information. That's going to make it much easier for us to be able to see and understand what's going on. But now, what if I wanted to take these shapes, recreate them, and then also give them new data? Can I do that? Or do I need to create the data from scratch? You do not need to do that. So let's do a real quick copy and paste here. I'm going to grab my 3 shapes, do a little copy, do a little paste. And let's say we want to add in some more of these steps. So assignment, resolution, and follow-up. Let's go to assignment, drag, drop. You'll notice a little question here to replace. And when you look at that, the text even changed to the word assignment. That sounds like a nice thing. Let's try that again for resolution. So let's go to resolution and place that on triage. Go to replace. Ooh, resolution. Follow up. Replace. Follow up. So any data you've added to the right side of the screen is now going to update as you update your data or as you replace that data. Or to Nicholas's great question, data linking versus just typing it in, a little fun fact for you all, we have a 2-way bidirectional sync with Google Sheets and Excel, allowing you to have any Excel document that is uploaded in, I think it's OneDrive, correct me if I'm wrong, Backstage team. If you upload one of those documents, it will actually bidirectionally sync. So any changes you make in your original Google document or your original Excel document will also update on this document. So you don't have to go in and retype data or retype those fields in again. You're, okay, taking it one step further and having the diagram work for you. Again, that's really what I'm here for today. Is to really kind of like show you how the diagram can work for you. And so that opportunity to have that bidirectional sync to automatically update that data for you, or as you just go and replace that data or replace the data set, it will also do that as well. Of course, David, I'm so glad to hear that. If we change directly onto the Lucid, does it sync back to Excel? It is a 2-way sync, I do believe, but my support team might need to support me on that question. So if we could type that in the Q&A, and then my team can help answer that one as well. Alrighty, so one last cool thing we can do is saving shapes as a custom shape. So let's take a little bit of a detour for a second. I'm going to go to my left side panel over here and go to where it says shapes. And I'm going to hop on down to where it says more shapes. I'm going to go to my libraries. And you'll see I created a library here for data-backed shapes. But there's currently nothing in this library. That's okay. I'll use selected shapes. And I'm going to take one of these pre-existing shapes here, this assignment option, for example, and I'm going to drop it into my left side toolbar. And what that is going to do is create a customized shape. that no matter, that basically is already ready for data from this diagram to go in. So what I can do now is instead of having to copy paste or replace all of these, I can do this fancy little shortcut here where I take all of this data right here, go to place all of this data into my document. I can go to my data-backed shapes. And would you look at that, all 9 steps of my ticket process have now become shapes, or I say 9, all 9 parts of my document have become shapes. So really, I've sped up my process of data linking and replacing by creating one shape, linking it to some data, making it a custom shape, and then using that shape for other documents as well. And you'll see it also took that step of replacing those texts as well, so each one has its own little stage title as well. Now, one more cool thing to talk about, so that's kind of getting your diagram started, getting the information in one place and getting that diagram started. However, you might need to keep up with all of this work that you and your team are doing. Again, we're here at Orbitech trying to streamline this process. And to do that, we've come into different teams and we're needing to pull in different tasks or work issues. So if I'm a Jira user in particular, I'm going to be really excited to know that I can create Jira cards with custom field mapping. That way, when I go to update tasks or create issues for different work items, I can create custom fields to map with those diagrams. For time's sake, we will not spend a lot of time diving into this, but I've kind of got a walkthrough here for you to see how to create a card and then how to even import those issues and update your Jira issue settings. So if you are a Jira user in particular, being able to do this custom field mapping is going to be super useful. Again, in this scenario of like, hey, I need, I need Shannon, who's on the backstage today, to actually go in and aggregate all of this data. I can then create a very specific task in Jira and import that into Lucid to keep track of it and make sure that Shannon and I are on the same page. So that was kind of our basics of what data can get you started with all of this stuff. What we're going to do now is actually jump into my favorite portion. So buckle up, everybody. We're going to jump into gaining insights. This was all just the practice to show you how to do the things. This is now going to be the actual application. So let's jump to gain insight here. And what you're going to see is a very full diagram here with a couple different rows of traffic here. We've got a customer lane for how the customers input a support ticket and a support team lane for how the actual support team deals with these issues. I already came in for time's sake and added all of these different data fields to this document here. That way, each of the data sets we're looking at or looking for is going to be visualized easily for us. And so what we're going to do with this diagram is gain insight on any waste in our time frame. Are we taking too long in any particular steps? The answer is yes, by the way. So what we're going to do is we are going to hop on over to the left side of our screen again to the little magic wand for conditional formatting. Now, conditional formatting may seem scary at first. It's if-then logic. If a certain condition is met, then do something for me. And that's literally all it is. So if a certain data field is met, if certain text is found, then do something for me. That's kind of the simplest way I can describe it to you. So what I'm going to do here is go to create a rule. First thing I'm going to do is rename my rule. Don't be like Cal, rename your rules, please. Because I can't tell you the number of times I have been in a document with multiple rules that I didn't name properly, and I have no idea what they do. So as I turn them on or off, I have no idea what they're showing me. So in our case, we're going to do for time analysis, how long it is taking to follow each step along the way. And now we set our condition. If something, so let's see what we want. If drop down menu, shape data. Great, we have shape data. Ooh, a new drop-down menu appeared. If shape data for, let's go with standardized time score. Ooh, that sounds like a nice one to use. Oops, sorry about that, everybody. Uh, let's see. It is greater than or equal to, let's go with 3. Then I want a little icon, a little badge to tell me something's going wrong. So let's do a little badge here. We'll actually greater than or equal to 3. Let's actually change that to 4. Nope, 5. I'm going to change my mind again. Change it to 5. Make it 2, make it 3, make it 4. Then give me an icon. This is saying it's taking too long. So we might actually want to change this icon to be something a little bit different. Let's change it to a little red X. Basically saying that if this process is taking too long, wait, I might have been doing this with the wrong data. Hold on, everybody. Hold on, hold on. I'm doing this the wrong data set. It should be not the standardized time score. That's why. Variance. That's what I was looking for. I knew I was doing something wrong there. Let's try that again for Cal, who's going to do things right this time. Time analysis. There we go. If shape data. I just wanted to show you how to make the rule again. That's really what this was about. It wasn't a mistake. It was me repeating the rule. If shape data, and it's going to be the variance, that's what we're looking for this time. Let's go with greater than or equal to 3. Then give me a red X icon. Great. So that's letting us know if any of our things are taking longer than 3 minutes to complete. The variance in how long we expect versus how long it's actually taking is happening longer than it should be. Let's do an else if condition. This is basically saying, like, if that one's not true, let's look for this one instead. If, let's say this one is, let's make this one fancy. Let's say it's between 0 and 3. So it's between or greater than, but is less than 0. Let's give it a little green check mark to say it's doing well. Ooh, and let's do one more because we actually have some negative numbers in here, which is exciting, which means our team is doing extra well in this section of the process. So for else if, let's go with less than 0. Let's put a blue information mark on that because it's not a bad thing. It's something we might just want to double click into and see, why is that happening so quickly? Why is that happening so fast? And then I'll save that rule. And what you'll see on your screen is now 3 different little flags. A red flag saying that the shape data is greater than 3, so that's taking too long. We've got these blue flags saying it's actually taking less time than we anticipated. And then that our follow-up and closing are happening at the right amount of time. And what this has done is take a very busy Excel document or a very busy Google Sheet document or our very busy data set here that I even forgot the field for and allow me to visualize that information much quicker. So now, as the team lead who's working on this project, I can now say, oh, team, we need to work on our ticket intake. What's going on here in this step of the process that's taking too long? Or our escalation's taking too long. What do we need to do to reevaluate that step along the way? So that's how conditional formatting can really help you out. I'll give you a secondary example here with org charts, but that's just an option for you quickly with a diagram like this. Another great tool for you, though, that I do want to touch on really quickly are dynamic shapes. I've actually included a couple of these at the top of our diagram here. These ones are actually a great opportunity to use formulas if you have them, or if you know how to use them. If you don't worry about it. We're about to make one without formulas. So what I might want to do here is see how long it's taking us to actually go through our entire process. Is our total workflow time matching our actual like time to complete, or are we having like extra waste, or are we taking too long? Is there extra time for us to get in there? So I'm going to click on this little shape here, this little pie chart, if you will. going to go up to the top right to my contextual panel. And I'm going to go to layout. And you will see my goal is to see how much time we are actually taking to complete as opposed to our standardized time score. So I've set the max value of the standardized time to 25 minutes. That is how long our process should be taking on average, is 25 minutes. That's the average for time to complete for every step along the way. That's the goal we are trying to meet as a team. What I can then do is update the actual value inside of that. That'll be the actual pie chart part that will get bigger or smaller as we are adding that data in. So I'm going to go to value here. And you'll see we actually have quite a few options for what the value can be. It can be a custom typed number like I put in there to start with. It could be shape data that you've attached to that shape, or it can be a formula if you want to do a contains by or sum of the page or anything like that. You're welcome to do those as well. I will not dive into formulas today just because that is a whole other TED Talk that will take hours of our time that we do not have. So for our instance today, we're going to use shape data. And let's go ahead and find that time to complete option. And would you look at that? Of our 25 minutes, it's going to take us to complete each step along the way. We're actually not doing too bad. We're getting close to the amount of time we need. So we might need to, again, cut some costs here or there or cut some, steps along the way. But overall, we're within the ratio of acceptable. So I'd call this okay. It's just those couple small steps along the way that might be frustrating our customers. So how do we fix and adjust those? I could do the same thing here for escalation, the amount of times that we're actually escalating versus the number of times we need to escalate. And the same with ticket reopens as well. How many times we're reopening tickets that weren't completed the first time. So I love these dynamic shapes for literally a dynamic visualization of some higher level information or data. Alrighty, so that is helping Orbitech get through that process of creating the diagram, whether from that step-to-step process using Lucid's machine learning, as well as also using things like data linking, conditional formatting, and dynamic shapes to be able to visualize that process. Now, oh, it's about to get better, everybody. Now, we're going to jump back for a second, so you guys can stay on that diagram for a second. You don't need to change anything right now. We're going to talk about data-backed org charts, because let's be real, we have an amazing flowchart giving us greater insight into our ticket process and is even pulling in custom field data to visualize tasks and update the current workflow. The issue is we have to take the next step. And we need to be able to organize and optimize our workflow and possibly create different task forces or Scrum teams to tackle these projects. Imagine our organization is facing new challenges and the current team structure isn't cutting it. Maybe your team lacks clarity about roles or collaboration feels fragmented. This is where org charts are going to come in. Not just as a static diagram, but as a dynamic tool to drive real change. Lucid allows you to take org charts to the next level by using data imports to quickly build the document for you, first of all, create different views based on teams, department, or other key indicators, as well as set up conditional formatting like we did prior to further visualize information in your data. This could be location of work, it could be Scrum team, or even current workload percentage. Org charts are more than just a snapshot of your company. They are a way to design better systems, foster accountability, and align resources with goals. So let's explore how to make this meaningful for Orbitech. Again, Orbitech, we've created that diagram for them. This time, though, we're going to create an org chart to restructure their team into different Scrum teams or different Agile teams or project teams to address the specific challenges we found in our data-backed flowchart. By dividing and visualizing the organization into smaller, more focused groups, we can create clarity around roles and responsibilities, improve collaboration, and even enhance overall efficiency. So to do that, let's hop back to that document I shared with you all earlier, and let's jump down to the very bottom of visualize. So to visualize, we're going to use Lucid's quick diagramming to import in an org chart and have it build it for us. Good news, I've got two options for you here for an org chart, either Google Sheets or Excel, because we do have that new Excel link as long as it's through OneDrive. So feel free to grab either of these. If you can't access either of these right now, all good. Again, we'll make sure to share all these resources afterwards. Or if you need to even download this as a CSV file, also feel welcome to do that as well. But once you have that data, it is a simple click to create the diagram for you. This works for ERD diagrams. This works for a bunch of different diagrams. And if you want to know what kinds of diagrams it works for, go on down to the bottom left of your screen to import data, and you will see all the different ways that you can use data to create diagrams or information for you. Org charts, ERDs, conditional formatting, UML diagrams, process diagrams, all this kind of stuff here. So in our case, though, we're doing an org chart. So again, I went to the very bottom left to import data. I'm going to click on org chart here. And I'm going to select import your data. This is where, again, if you were able to get access to that Google Sheet, great. If you had to download it as a CSV, also totally fine. In my case, I will do this Google Sheet option here. Import that in. It's going to find it for me. Where did you go? Demo org chart. Yes, please. Select that demo org chart. And now this is where to go right into Vladimir's next question, which I am super excited to be talking about. Our org chart schema is actually pretty flexible. The second you go to click to import in that org chart, it's going to ask you some questions to make sure we're matching the fields appropriately. So you're going to see how it identifies a supervisor by that ID number. That's probably a good thing to do. And then we can see how we represent our employees. So are they by employee ID? Is that called the same thing in our chart? Supervisor ID, is that called the same thing in our chart? If not, change those titles right there. And if you go to next, you can also see if you have name properly aligned up. And some people say role, some people say position. So you could change that column to match with that title as well. And do not worry, you might notice there's a bunch of other data here it's not asking questions about. It is still going to add all of that data. It just needs to map the most important ones, which are name and IDs. So I'll click next. Let's create one chart for my entire organization. Finish that up. And would you look at that? That is an org chart built for us. I didn't need to manually add all of this. I didn't need to manually create all of this. This just did it for me. I'm sorry, Stuart. I know I should have added all of you. I blunder on Cal's part. Alrighty, so now we've got an org chart ready to go. I mean, this was super easy for me. I'm very happy with how this worked out. But now, our big main thing of this one was to get that organizational chart, was to get that organizational diagram to tell us who our current Scrum teams are. Who are the current people in our list that we can check in on, that we need to follow up with, that we need to possibly add to different Scrum teams. So what I'm going to do is create a conditional formatting rule. We'll be practicing with that thing we just did earlier, but changing things up a little bit. So going back to conditional formatting, that same little magic wand, we're going to go ahead and add a rule. And if shape data, and let's go for, oh, I don't know, the Scrum team. That's kind of what we're looking for, isn't it? So if shape data for Scrum team contains, and this is where we get to flag the different Scrum teams we have. So we've got 4 different Scrum teams on our Orbitech team. The first one is Mario. If our members are part of Scrum Team Mario, then I want a little red icon on their little Scrum Team option, just to say, hey, they are part of the Mario team. Let's do an else if. Shape data, Scrum Team contains, the next one's going to be Kirby. We'll do another icon here. Oh, let's change it to a pink color, though, for no reason whatsoever. Another else if conditional contains, oh, I don't know, Link. Let's make it green for, again, no reason in particular. And else if conditional one more time. If the shape data for Scrum team contains Pikachu, Let's make it yellow for no reason in particular. And now before we click save, Cal did something wrong. Can someone call out in chat what Cal did wrong? It's a small thing. It's a little thing, but I did something wrong. Rule name. Yes, gold stars to Nirav, Kat, Lindsay, and Ian. I did not rename my rule, so I'm going to go back up to the top and rename this Scrum team. And I will save that rule. And now would you look at that? We've now got little flags saying all of these different people and where their Scrum teams are located. Thank you, Jennifer. You also get a gold star. Now, I did see something pop up about a diagram key. A really cool thing actually about Lucid is our conditional formatting rules can actually help you with that. So let's actually go back to our Scrum team rule, and I'm going to edit that rule. And down in the then category is an option for custom hover text. I'm going to click on that really quickly. And I'm going to even come in and type in the Scrum team name. Let's scroll down a little bit and do that again. Custom hover text. Type in that name. Custom hover text. Type in that name. Custom hover text. Type in that name. Now as I save, and if I take my cursor and hover over that cursor, would you look at that, it tells me what those dots represent. So I'm actually not needing to create a diagram key. The dots are telling me themselves what they represent because they have that custom hover text. So as I hover over that red, it says Mario. As I hover over the yellow, it says Pikachu. The pink is Kirby. Green is not Luigi, it's Link. It is a misstep on my part. That's okay. So that's really taking that data-based diagram to the next level. And now I can come in and say, oh, hey, we have a couple more people we could add to these teams. I could add Lainey to this team as well. Lainey would be a great fit for the Pikachu team. So I'll come in and update Lainey's data to have Pikachu in it. And you'll even update her flag. Gianna might want to join the Mario team. Look at that. We've got Mario in the Mario team. That being said, though, what if I did want to do what Michael and Kat are asking for, which are fantastic, by the way, 10 out of 10 questions. What if I wanted to visualize on just that Scrum team? What if I wanted to visualize just those individuals? To do that, you could have done that earlier when you created the org chart and had it create for different views, but you can do that later. I will highlight all of these. I will go to Layout, and I will go to Visualization. And would you look at that? There's an option for Group View. Let's create a group view, basically creating different buckets full of the different people based on a certain field. So we could do it by department, or we could do it by Scrum team. And I'll go ahead and create that group view. And the best part about this is, and where I nerd out hardcore, is that it doesn't replace your document. It becomes a separate tab. So you're able to visualize multiple things on group views all at once. And now you can see our Kirby, Link, Mario, and Pikachu teams. It looks like I spelled Pikachu wrong on this one. That's why that's upsetting. Cal can't spell today. But now you can see and visualize those Scrum teams a little bit easier. Ooh, and then, okay. And then, I keep saying and then because it just keeps getting better because I love data and conditional formatting and I love org charts. Does moving them in this replace the data in the sheet? Yes, it does. So if I take Brigitte here and throw her into Kirby and go back to my organization, I'll have to find Brigitte. That's not going to be an easy one for me to find. But would you look at that? Brigitte is now pink because she's part of the Kirby team. If I do that with Norma, move Norma to the Link team, go back to my organization, you'll see Norma, if I can find Norma, there's Norma. Norma's the CEO. Norma is now here on the link team as well. So really, we've now taken data to be able to go from our organizational charts, divide those up into different teams, and then take those people and further visualize them based on department, based on location, and all of that kind of stuff. So with that, we've officially wrapped my prepared portion. I do want to leave some time for Q&A. We've got some great questions in the Q&A that were flagged for me to answer. So let me take a second and answer those questions. So the first one looks like it's from Ron. Can you generate a legend from your rule? So from the rule itself, no. Can you create a legend? Yes. So in my case, what I might want to do here to create a legend, we do have a diagram key, which is a great option to create a legend based on shape type, but it will not apply to those conditional formatting rules. So what you will need to do is kind of create your own legend or your own reference point. And the way I recommend doing that is going to containers, throwing in a little rectangular container here. And then I would come in personally and add in like some little circle shapes with the colors that match. So I would add in, this like blue, not the blue, but you know what I mean. I would change this to green, enter in some text here and say this is link. So to answer your question, yes, you can technically create a diagram key, but it's going to be based on like flowchart shapes and shapes, not on rules. So if you need a legend for your rules, I recommend container and some custom shaping just to get that, that personal legend created. Another great question from John. In the org chart example, is it possible to publish or share the diagram to another user who only has view permissions and allow them to toggle the different conditional formatting rules? Yes, they can, 100%. So when you go to share that document via the top right, there will be an option to update the proper permissions for that share link you're sharing. So I could go to view only here. And people with view only access will be able to toggle conditional formatting rules. If you want to make it a little bit easier for them though, what you could also do is like add in a little shape here to say conditional rule, and then set up like a little action so it becomes a button to toggle on or off that Scrum team rule when they click on it. So I give this a little click here, you'll see that rule goes off, that rule goes back on. So you can share view only. They'd still be able to have the opportunity to like update those conditional formatting rules. I just make it easier by adding that button with an action. And then, ooh, anchor to a shape. Yes, okay, great question. So my brain just froze. Anchor key to a shape. So it needs to do an office seating chart, shapes and images overlaying an office layers anchored to a assigned seat number. If people change seating locations, then once the data is refreshed, the images are changed to match the new assigned seat number. Yes, so you could do that. That would be through some like fancy data linking. But what you can also do here within just the org chart itself is be able to click and drag and reorganize people pretty quickly and easily. But what you can also do in that instance is I might just do a couple different shapes here. So I might like have some rectangular shapes to be like seat 1. And then just use these same like org chart shapes and have those be used to the have these attached to these kind of seats here. So that's what I would recommend doing, or just creating some data backed shapes with information that you need and do that stuff there. So not directly key to a shape, but that data linking will be the best option for that as well. All right, I think we got time for one more question. So does custom shape only work for data from the demo spreadsheet, or does it pull rows from any uploaded spreadsheet? Yes, so it'll pull rows from any uploaded spreadsheet as long as you're just attaching that information to the shape itself and attaching it to your document. So I could easily come in and add in another data set or come in and add another document here and apply that, those different pieces of information to different shapes. I just will want to make sure that when I'm creating those rules or custom shaping, that I'm making sure that I use very generic titles and things like that. Okay. We've hit the hour, everybody. I do want to give a big old thank you to all of you who showed up and were live. Thank you for all of you in the future who are watching this. We really appreciate all of your time and your energy and your enthusiasm. We will be sharing all of this information in the a community post very soon and in an email coming to you very soon as well. We really appreciate all of your time and energy. I'm going to stop my screen share. And I'll say thank you one more time. I keep saying thank you, but I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.